Nutrition is one of the basic elements of the whole system of apple and pear growing. You have three pillars where the level of your production and quality is depending on. One is the crop protection, so all the animals and all the fungi. You have to do that the right way. The second one is the total cultivation techniques like pruning, like chemical thinning and that kind of things. And the third pillar is the nutrition. If you make any mistake with one of the three pillars, you will lose your quality and your quantity. So it's very important to have this balanced and on the right level. In general, the root system of a pear is a little bit different than the apple. The pear has its roots a little bit more deep in the soil than an apple tree. And mostly the roots are in a deeper layer. They don't have too much nutrition in that layer. The upper layer of the soil is the most nutritional layer of the whole soil. Pears have deeper roots. The main difference between apples and pears is that in general pears need more potassium and they need more nitrogen. And what's also a very big difference between an apple and a pear is that the reserves which you get from the last year, it's more important for a pear than for an apple. Around the blossoming time, you see that the apple tree has a lot of leaves and they support these young apples to grow. Pears don't have so much leaves around blossoming time, so you have to consider that these leaves, which he has, this limited amount of leaves, they are very nutritional rich. They have to be full of power to keep these fruits on the tree. And therefore, that are the main differences between apples and pears. Also, what a very important difference between apples and pears is that the pear needs more water. And to regulate your watering in your orchard, the potassium level and the magnesium level have to be in the right at the right nutritional level. And because the pear doesn't uptake potassium so good, you have to put more potassium on the soil and a pear to get the right level than on an apple tree. Very important is that there is no standard program because every soil is a little bit different. You cannot say you need 100 kilograms or 200 kilograms of pure potassium because every soil has its history. Some of the soils are very rich in potassium and some are very poor. And to see this level and what you have to do, you always need soil samples and leaf samples. Soil samples are the basic nutrition. There you measure your basic level of the nutrition in the soil, and with the leaf samples you see really what is the uptake of the tree. So a leaf sample is always the most important level to see if the uptake is right enough. And the combination between soil and leaf samples, they make how much potassium you have to give and how much phosphor you have to give and how much magnesium you have to give. And so there is no standard program. You have to measure and react on these measurements. Important to give an optimum nutrition to a pear tree, but also for an apple tree, you always need a combination between soil applications of fertilizers. We also use leaf fertilization, so we spray directly the nutrition on the leaves. And what, from my opinion, in a pear is more important than on an apple tree is that you feed it also through the dripping line. So if you have the possibility to give a drip irrigation with fertilizers, it's a very big advantage for pears. In Holland, about 75% of all the fruit growers with professional fruit growers with pears, they have a drip irrigation with fertilization into it, because then you can give really at the right moment the right amounts of nutrition. If you compare an orchard which is producing 70 or 80 tons per hectare, if you compare it with an orchard with 20, 30 tons per hectare, there are a lot of differences. The uptake is almost 3 times more, but I can say that the most soils, they are able to deliver enough nutrition to produce 20 tons. You don't need a very rich soil for it. But at the moment, through your whole program, what you do, and you produce a lot of tonnage per hectare, so that the crop is very high, and you were speaking about 60, 70, 80 tons, then really your soil is limited and you have to give a lot of fertilizers extra to compensate that the soil cannot deliver that kind of amounts. So there is a big difference between 70 tons and 20 tons. 20 tons, every soil can deliver 20 tons. 60, 70, 80 tons, then you really need a good soil or a very good fertilization program.